The Job Guys. What the world isn't watching.
What's happening, everybody? The Job Guys back with you one more time. Nitro Nick is here. Ryan is here as well. And we are going to celebrate, Nick, Turkey Day the ravishing way. Yeah. 1989 Survivor Series. It is 35 years ago. So as we always do, we run back a old pay-per-view from, we like to get those round numbers like the 35, the 40, the whatever year. Luckily enough, we had a good pay-per-view right here, Survivor Series 1989, the third edition of the Survivor Series. We're going to run it back for you. So thanks so much for joining us. If you've never been on one of these running backs, we always tell you kind of what we're doing. We talk about the era a little bit, where we were. We were 9 and 10 years old back then watching this. So we were like at the peak of our fandom back in 1989. We go through the card. We're not going to tell you every single elimination throughout the night, or you'd be here for 14 hours. And then at the end, we have some categories. The match of the night, the funniest moment, the line of the night, who won the night, what's the legacy, things like that. Where were you as far as wrestling goes in 89? Me, this is like as high as it gets for me. This is peak for me.
I think as much as me and you have said this, we've even done tournaments on here. Hogan Andre is the pinnacle of kind of the 80s, but I was a little younger, so now I'm 10 and I'm really into this, right? I'm watching Saturday, I'm watching Sunday, I'm watching Saturday night's main event. And Ryan, I love this back in the day, Ryan. Everybody on the card, you got to see marquee talent against marquee talent. Honky Tonk Man versus Coco, or the Rougeos versus...
That was a big deal.
Yeah, on Saturday, that you waited to the end of the program to get to just that match. Tito Santana, Brooklyn Brawler. That might be the best you're getting that week.
And that jabroni Brian Blair.
And so here, everybody on the card, basically, that's relevant to the show at that time.
So not only do you not get one-on-one matches, you got 4-on-4 matches here and an elimination tag, which you didn't see all the time. Now, every Raw and Dynamite and everything, there's 6-man tags and 8-man tags. And this, that's why you can't do the Survivor Series anymore, why it doesn't work the way it used to work back then. Back then, it was special, and it was once a year. So it was very cool. This, to me, before we get into the era and everything, just off the top, man, this was my favorite Survivor Series. It still is to this day. First time 4-on-4. If you remember, the other two were 5-on-5 matches, and the other two also had a girls match in there, and then they also had a tag match where you couldn't even see the action in the ring because there were so many dudes, because they had 10 tag teams lined up. You couldn't even see.
It's pillar to post all the way around. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. You can't see anything going on in the ring. So, I mean, those matches were a little goofy, but this one, man, it stood out to me for some reason. I'm not exactly sure. I think this was the very first pay-per-view I had the VHS recorded off of the pay-per-view. So I had this and I watched it to death. I mean, I had the whole thing memorized, and I mean, every single thing about it, I watch it over and over again. But just the whole thing, which we'll get into more, but I think this one stood out. I think the production is better than the other ones. I didn't watch 87 and 88 that much because if you remember, the Coliseum videos were cut down from 3 hours down to 2 hours. So they aren't even showing the intros of guys walking down the aisle. They're just cutting. Here's the King, and here's Morocco, and here's... So you're not seeing the intros. You're not seeing a lot of stuff. I think even some of the matches they cut in the middle of the match, and you miss a lot of stuff going on. So it seemed the production didn't seem as good as like WrestleMania 3 and WrestleMania 4. It seemed like it maybe took a step back. This right out of the gate, as we're going to talk about, the production is unbelievable. And I think these guys 4-on-4, I think they're better matchups. It's all good dudes. You're not getting Scott Casey out there.
There's no turds here. There's no bad guys.
Yeah, you got a lot of good dudes. So to me, man, I just always love this show. Strange things going on leading into this show. I think one thing, Nick, a lot of people remember, there's a couple changes on the card. like come out of nowhere. Like you have no clue these changes have happened until they get in the ring and they're like, why is Akeem not there? Why is Bad News Brown there? You know,
Card
those things
subject to
all
change,
happen.
brother. Card
Yeah,
subject to change.
October 2nd, a Superstar is taping in Wheeling, West Virginia, and a ton of stuff happens at this show. This is where you get the Demolition winning the tag team belts back again. You get the model Rick Martel, which I guess I forgot that he wasn't the model already. He doesn't become the model until right before the Survivor Series. Then he comes out and starts modeling and everything. The Earthquake shows up where they do that angle, Nick, where they pull him out of the crowd.
I saw that live.
Yeah.
Still, you got me. I thought the dude was just a guy from the audience, man.
Yeah. So did the Warrior. And but all this stuff happens at this Wheeling, West Virginia taping, which then they taped 3 weeks worth, you know.
Who was the third one I'm figuring that I missed?
The Widowmaker. Yeah, Barry
That's
Windham.
right.
He left, and there was two things there. They found in October, they found a tumor in his chest, a benign tumor.
Oh, wow.
Turned out fine. You know, he was okay, but that happened. And then like
Thank
right
goodness.
after the Survivor Series, then his dad, who's Blackjack Mulligan, and Kendall Windham get caught in some counterfeit money scheme, and they went to prison for a couple years. So he took off, and he was messing with that for a while, and then he shows back up in NWA 6 months later or whatever it is, summer of 90.
Kendall's best days. I mean, he's still got a #1 hit song in the country world coming out.
What a bounce back for Kendall, you know. After 10 years after that, you know, that terrible prison sentence, he comes out with
Crap is crap.
what an amazing
I'm
job.
still on my playlist, man.
Yeah, it probably is. Probably
I'm not lying.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
Well, let's get into the show a little bit, man. As we said, it's at the Rosemount Horizon, the home of the very first pay-per-view they ever did, the Wrestling Classic. So they're back in there. That turns out to what they say is the loudest building in the country to this day because it's got that wooden roof. That's why they still go there. They don't go to the United Center. They go to the old 50-year-old Rosemount Horizon because it's so loud. 385 buys, 1,000 buys. That is up from 310 in 1988. So they got a few more thousand buys there. Attendance over 15,000. This place is sold out. Anyway, here's the show, man. All-time classic. This pay-per-view starts out with all the guys saying what they are thankful for. This is like a cult classic thing, man. I mean, people still talk about this all the time. It starts with Hogan saying, and he talks for a while. Then most of the other guys say like one thing, you know, DiBiase, I'm thankful because I'm rich and you're not. And then somebody, I'm thankful for my snake.
I'm thankful for these polka dots.
Yeah, then there's that one. Dusty Rhodes, thankful for his polka dots as he flicks off the camera.
Yeah, I mean, was he showing us the polka dots or was he?
Oh, he was pointing to him.
I think so.
He wasn't using his pointer finger, though.
No, he wasn't, folks. It's a great moment to watch, man, if you go back.
And that ends with the Warrior. Maybe a sign of things to come, starting with Hogan, ending with the Warrior.
Trying to transition here.
And then, I mean, you want to talk about classic, Nick. It goes out of those thankful things straight into Vince McMahon announcing the teams. Once again, as I said, the other Survivor Series didn't have this, you know, and we never really saw, you know, now they do it on every Raw. Like, hey, you know, Roman's fighting Solo, and they put up a picture of the two guys on the screen. Perfectly normal now. Back then, Nick, they didn't do that for anything. And he's just screaming them at the top of his lungs in that classic Vince voice. That's Hulk Hogan.
And Zeus, it's the Hulkamaniacs versus the $1 Million Team. It's the Survivor Series.
You know, like just the classic over the top Vince voice. But again, we had not seen it quite like this. All 4 guys on the screen, just like the Rumble too. They're all making stupid faces. Like they got the close up of their head and they're making some crazy face. It was so cool, man.
I could sit and put that on my playlist and just listen to him read the teams as I'm rolling down the street, man.
Yeah.
It is that cool. It really is.
And you'll hear other people talk about it. Had to make a few edits because there was a few changes at the last minute of putting people in. Notable, though, Tully Blanchard is still on this. They still say Tully Blanchard, and we'll get into that later on the show. But just absolutely, dude, it's epic, man. I mean, this is, say what you want about the guy, but this is classic Vince McMahon, dude. We go out to the ring or whatever, to the arena. It's Gorilla and Jesse, the Pilgrim, Ventura, right off the gate. I mean, it's a scripted thing between those two. You know, he calls him the Pilgrim, and then he makes fun of Gorilla for being fat.
I mean, they must have passed notes to each other, right? Because, I mean, there's so many times they softball for each other.
Yeah. So they start this thing off with Team Captain Dusty Rhodes. The Dream Team taking on the Enforcers. Great way to start this match or start this night. And they don't waste any time. They go right into it. We'll just name the people on it. Dream Team, Dusty Rhodes, Brutus Beefcake, the Red Rooster.
Who thought up that crap?
And Tito Santana, the Enforcers, Big Boss Man, Bad News, filling in for Akeem, who apparently just wanted to go home, according to Bruce Pritchard. Rick Martel, who is now the model, and the Honky Tonk Man. Nick, I'll let you go, but man, I'll just say first and foremost, when Dusty's music hits, that dude is over, man.
Yes,
he is over. The place explodes when he comes out. But yeah, what stood out to you in this match? Dusty ends up winning with a cross body.
Him and the barber survive, right?
Yeah. So what are your thoughts at all?
How overall I mean, it's incredible. I mean, I know the Rooster, not so much.
It's the work of an idiot. Pathetic, really stupid idiots. Are you an idiot? Lost idiot. He was the shit. You will always be seen as a complete failure.
It was quoted, the Rooster, he's come a long way in the world.
Yeah, he sure has. Long way down.
Cock-a-doodle-doo, any cockle-doo.
Just, Ryan, when you just look, your opening match, man, these guys so many of them are legendary. The names you just ripped off, and there's actual feuds taking place in this match. But Dusty has got a thing with the Boss Man. Rick Martel and Tito are in year 1 of their 8-year feud. You know, there's other people. Brutus is. I'm sorry, folks. The dude is over, man. Like, he is going to main event. He just did main event a pay-per-view with Hulk Hogan. Now he's going to main event like I guess what we'd consider a pay-per-view back then with Hulk Hogan. Bad news, though. Why do people keep teaming with him, Slow? I don't understand.
Well, he was a replacement at the last minute, but yeah. Second
really
year in a row,
here, man.
He gets hit, and I believe he also got hit the year before by the same dude, by the Boss Man. He gets hit. And that's it. I'm leaving. He just up and walks out.
And I think Honky's on the team too the previous year as well. So these guys didn't know about this guy. Or
did you hear though when he walks out as he's leaving? Did you hear the crowd at all? Dude, he's walking out and some guy in the crowd, man, goes, "Where you going, sucker? Hey, sucker. Where are you going, homeboy? Hey, Holmes."
They said that? Oh, my God.
They just like that.
That's no way to get your payday is take a hike.
It's great. And he pays no attention. He's like doing this to the crowd as he's walking out. Oh, dude. Where are you going, sucker? Oh, that was great, man. Boss Man was down 3-1. He ends up coming back a little bit, and then you said it was the finish there with the beefcake.
No one looks bad.
Dusty.
No one looks bad, Ryan. That's kind of a theme of the night here. No one looks bad. This is a great match. Dusty in the bar. Brutus looked great. He gets 2 pins. Dusty gets the final limb. Boss Man one-ups him at the end because he gets back in the ring and beats up Dusty with the nightstick.
Right.
So kind of gets his heat back. I think it's a great opening match. I think it's awesome. There's good wrestling, good pins. The only guy that happens to, there's only one non-pin. That's Bad News walking out, which maybe we should have expected.
Right.
I think it's an awesome match, dude. Great open to the card.
Yeah, man. And Dusty, he took some live rounds there with that nightstick. They show him, they zoom in on his head. He's handcuffed to the ropes, bleeding from the head, which back then you didn't see all that often in
WWE.
In like 1989 WWE. Here's something interesting though, which I didn't realize, and I read this online. Beefcake and Honky are involved in eliminations in all 3 Survivor Series after this. 87, Honky pins Beefcake with the shake, rattle, and roll. 88, they are both counted out while brawling to the floor. And then here, Beefcake pins Honky with the high knee to the face. So those 2 eliminated each other every single Survivor Series to that point.
Did not know that.
Yeah, kind of different. And then Mooney is in the back with Boss Man. As he's walking back through the curtain, Mooney is talking to Boss Man. And it's strange. He's cutting the heel promo. You got what you deserve, boy. Deplorable. It's not deplorable.
Dude.
Boss Man becomes a good guy shortly after this, like right at the beginning of 1990. So it's not too much longer. And here he is just beating the ever-living crap out of a guy.
He says that. Slick calls Dusty fat, and Boss Man says his prisoners have no human rights. So I
might go over a little differently today.
You sure, Ryan?
Okay, we go to the back. We got the 4x4s back there. This is Hacksaw Jim Duggan's team. It's Bret Hart, it's Rugged Ronnie Garvin, and it's Hercules. They're just yelling, and they got their 2x4s and everything. And Bret says this will be their finest hour. It's their only hour, but it's their finest hour, because they're never going to team again. But yeah, here we go.
That was my cringeworthy moment of the evening. They all tried to sound like Hacksaw. And I'm like, man, he's kind of like a little off, and the rest of you guys aren't. It's, I don't know. It was weird. That was really cringy for me, kind of a little bit watch, but I love the guy. Brett's awesome. Those are good guys.
I got another thing to tell you about that later on in the show, how they wanted the teams to look like a team. There's another example of that later on. They're taking on the King's Court. Macho Man, Macho King now, Randy Savage, the Canadian Earthquake, Dino Bravo, and Greg the Hammer Valentine. Nick, I know you like this match. This has been memorable to you since I think I've known you. Go at it.
Right. Well, you got the King's Court that comes down there and gets in the ring, and they're standing there as one does, abiding by the rules of the law, of the professional wrestling world. And here comes the 4x4s, right? And Gorilla, bias as he was at that point, says something like, oh, and there goes the King's Court. They flee the ring. And Jesse's I wrote, and the 4x4s have cleared the ring. What do you expect? They run in the ring with boards.
They got boards. He goes, they're just 2x4s. He's like, yeah, boards.
Boards. Jesse is, I hope he's this great coming back, man, if he does do the Saturday night's main events, man.
Yeah, he's very good in this one, talking about the illegal stuff, and he's always good ripping on Duggan. Yeah, he's constantly ripping on Duggan.
Look at that snot on his nose, Gorilla. That's horrible. Makes me want to puke.
He had become the Macho King, obviously, sometime around 1989. Dude, has there ever been another king that
not like him?
Is he not the best, dude?
The cream of the crop.
And he has a different look than the other kings. His crown was different. Like everything about it was different than the other ones. They're all cookie cutter.
Take everybody from Lesnar to Sheamus to I don't care who, Brett, even Brett, man. Go on the websites. There's Bret Hart t-shirts. There's not really a Bret Hart shirt. the scepter, the way he wore the flamboyant robes and everything, and then eventually you throw Sherry alongside. I mean, it's just a win-win, man. This gimmick, Savage is awesome with it. I thought, man, and he pulled it off. A lot of people, man, when they put I'm the king, I'm this and that, we saw with Xavier Woods, you're like, no.
Yeah,
Please,
there's just something about him, man. He pulled it off. He looked better. He looked cooler than every other person that's ever been a king
job guys
before.
carrying him to the ring.
Yeah. Duggan was down 3-1. He clears the ring, finally gets caught up, and then Savage has 3 dudes survive. Savage is a survivor. All 3 Survivor Series after this. Couple of moments in this match, though. I heard Brett talk about this in his book, and I guess I didn't think much about it till now, and I saw it again. When he gets in there with Savage, the place erupts when Brett gets tagged and comes in to face Savage. And I don't know if that's, they thought Brett, they wanted to push him. Here he is again, by the way. Hart Foundation are not together in this. Brett is in this match. Neidhart is with the Warriors team at the end of the night. Interesting, because they had tried to split Brett off a couple of times. I'm not really sure that they were trying to do that here, but here he is alone, and the crowd wanted to see it, man. They were all about seeing him take on Macho.
People have always liked Brett, I think, though, too. He just has a cool look, man.
Yeah.
Like I just the sunglass. Even if we didn't know his personality, he kind of wore the sunglasses, I think, to hide a little bit because he was a little nervous when he started wrestling.
Yeah.
Not cutting the promos as well.
Right.
I didn't know that. I wasn't aware, and he came off as a really cool face to me. I thought like he was kind of just a guy, like an older cousin or somebody you thought was cool.
Go get him, champ.
So it's Savage, Dino Bravo, and Earthquake, who we said literally debuted 2 weeks before this is when that aired. So here he is. They're pushing him, as you know. They're going to push him to the moon here the next summer. Match is fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but nothing like super memorable about this match. Anything else you want to say about this match at all before we move on? Because there's nothing really like spectacular other than the Garvin stomp.
Fucking thing sucks.
Dude, this guy literally does fake stomps all the way around a guy, all the way, and you have to wait. And he takes his time between.
I know it like puts it down like he's smushing a bug on your arm, and then he pulls it off, and then, oh my god, yeah,
it's not terrific.
Jesse did call out, as you said, Duggan hit Savage on the apron, and Duggan's going to take cheap shots, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
He always called him an idiot, a buffoon.
Look at that snot hanging out of his nose.
Look at that Duggan snot hanging out of his nose. He thinks he won, Jess.
People can say again what they want. Hacksaw gets a crowd
over.
reaction. He's over, man. He gets people like, dude, just go outside and go, ho, and see if everybody doesn't know who you're talking about.
And don't yell ho on Dort Highway.
No.
After that, the Genius cuts a poem. He's going to have a pretty big week. Saturday night's main event is 2 days after this. Takes out Hogan by countout. Still shocking to believe that happened.
I'm still angry. But
he cuts a Thanksgiving poem, whatever. And then we have what most believe was the main event, maybe the most star-studded match out of all this. We said it, our favorite, which we believe is the best team of all time. It's the Hulkamaniacs, Hogan, Demolition, and Jake the Snake Roberts, who is back after a neck injury given to him by $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. And he's on the other side, along with Zeus and along with the Powers of Pain. This is just the second main event or show that Hogan is not somehow involved in the main event in WWF pay-per-view history. The Wrestling Classic, he fought Piper. That was not the last match. Obviously, he's not in the main event of WrestleMania 4, but he's out there and now this. So just the second time that he's not in the last match, which is kind of hard to believe. The Demos and the Powers of Pain, they were feuding at last year's Survivor Series, and we did the double turn, at that show. Here they are a year later. They have not been feuding, but they get thrown together in this show. The Brainbusters are really the ones the Demos have been feuding with, and then the Colossal Connection here coming up right after this. But they just kind of get thrown in here, and then the last match, it is the Brainbusters against the Rockers, who, again, feuding a year ago. I don't have a problem with it at all, but it's just interesting. Did they do that because of the eliminations, or did they just we got nothing for these guys? We're kind of in limbo right here. Just throw them in there with those guys.
It was weird to see that, and it really was. And I didn't. I was more hurt that the Demos looked like crap.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll get into it. The whole team pretty much ends up looking like crap,
Hogan,
even though they were the best team on paper ever.
Jake gets beat up in all his matches, but,
So about Jake, and I mentioned there's a team unity thing here. Jake has just recently told a story that I've never heard before until last week. He said that to show team unity, Vince, like the 2x4s, he wanted them to all come out together holding a massive snake, not Damien, a snake that was like an anaconda. And he's like, this is what I want. I want you to all come out together. Well, Jake gets mad because that's my gimmick. Nobody else can have my gimmick, which I don't think makes any sense. But anyway, Vince was adamant, and he does get a snake, and it weighs 400 pounds. And apparently sometime right before the show, and you don't know what to believe half the time, but this is what he says. Before the show, it caused a ruckus on purpose. Jake put the handler up to letting this snake do whatever it wanted so he wouldn't have to do it. But according to Jake, they were all supposed to come out carrying the world's biggest snake, a la, Ice Cube or whoever was in that movie. Who was in that stupid movie?
But they're not the Snake-a-maniacs. They're the Hulkamaniacs, so that's, they gave all them boards because Duggan was the team captain,
Right.
The king in his court because Savage is the team captain. The dream team. You got Brutus and Dusty. Both you can put a little dream with, Brutus put you to sleep. The Snakesters? I don't.
Well, maybe they all should have just come out with syringes if they were the Hulkamaniacs. I don't know what. Maybe that's.
Well, someone could have had vitamins, and someone could have came out with training stuff, and someone could have. I don't know.
Vitamins. Okay.
I guess that's what he's telling me to take, man.
Dude, this match, though, it starts out immediately, man. We get no hot tag. We get no nothing. Zeus wants Hogan right out of the gate.
What you got on my 40, homie?
Hogan gets in the ring right away. So we are starting Hogan, Zeus. Boom. What we wanted to see. You don't get that very often, man. They make you wait. They wait for the hot tag or something. And Gorilla says, look at that big Z on the side of his head. What is that? What is that? In case he gets lost or something? And then Jesse goes, no, it stands for Zeus.
Dude, he does it again, man. What did I write down here? Yeah, it's so great, man. He says, Gorilla, what kind of belt is Zeus wearing? It's a Zeus belt. It's got a Z on it.
What's that in case he gets lost?
Oh my God. It's so good, dude.
It's great. And what's hilarious too is he had that before. Every other time he was there, it's like he just noticed it.
Oh man. But yeah.
Anyway, man, Zeus, he goes to town. He no-sells Hogan. No sells. And
Hogan's
then he
knee is the worst knee I've ever seen him throw.
It's not great. It's not great. He starts wringing his neck, snapping his neck, and
it breaks his neck.
They just disqualify him. So Hogan is half dead. They disqualify Zeus. He's out of there.
Who else wants some of the D-ball?
It made Hogan look weak, man. And then later, they disqualify both powers of pain at the same time
Repeating,
because
yeah.
they're dealing on Hogan. So 3 of the 4 people have now been disqualified, and Jesse's not helping because he's saving Hogan.
Yeah,
he's saving Hogan. Like, I do remember thinking it made Hogan look weak. Now I really do. But it's just like the other day at that pay-per-view, whatever it was, when Roman got murdered a million times. I didn't like that either. Yeah, the babyface has to get beat down here or there, but he loses. He looks like a chump next to Jay, who's running his mouth again. And then Sammy kicks him in the head. Like make him look like he's, in trouble, but don't kill the guy. I don't know, man. It lost a little credibility looking back.
The whole match did to me at that point. Even as a kid, Ryan, I'm like, you just disqualified the whole team. Like, I come on, man. Like, and then Jesse is screaming, you're giving a match to Hogan. I'm like, you kind of are giving the match to Hogan. Like, it's like,
and it's not like they did anything like abnormal. I'm pretty sure that the Brainbusters finisher was a spike pile driver.
Right.
The powers of pain get disqualified after a spike pile driver. Like,
and they not watched a rocker match? Like, those guys spend the whole match. That's all they freaking do is spend the whole match in there. Yeah, I don't. I really thought that hurt the match. And now, today, I didn't catch it back then, but it does. I hurt Hogan. I don't know, Ryan, if they're trying, because how do we make Zeus into like, oh, Hogan can't hurt him? Must have been what's going through their head.
Hogan already pinned him at SummerSlam, though.
Yeah, I know. Well, he hit him with a loaded purse, I think, Ryan, at SummerSlam.
True. That is true. He didn't get disqualified.
No.
But yeah, there, obviously there's a lot of people that hate Hogan out there. And if they go watch this pay-per-view, yeah, it's only going to make it worse. They aren't gonna, if you are an anti-Hogan person, just in general, you probably should just hit skip to the next match. This match will not make you happy. And then, Ted pins Jake, and then Hogan beats Ted. And Hogan is the survivor here. Anything else about this match, Nick, at all? It was very it's a tough watch a little bit. It's not the best.
Yeah, I just love just because Gorilla always says Hogan will always point up, and he thinks the man upstairs. Yeah, you ought to thank the ref. Just Jesse lays into him too. Yeah, I know. Just lays into
the whole match, because again, dude, the Zeus disqualification comes like 2 minutes into the match. I mean, it's immediate.
Yeah, we don't even get to see Zeus. I mean, I'm assuming we do assume Zeus, they can't. I understand why they couldn't leave him in there. I mean, you're like. I was thinking like maybe they couldn't wrestle. I'm like, but he just wrestled at SummerSlam. Yeah. They can't. And on this one, you can hide him on the apron. He doesn't have to work 40 minutes inside there, I mean, so
I think they were just trying to show, which they do throughout the night. They keep selling the match, the movie coming up December 22nd, or 7th, which we're going to get into again in 1 second. I think they're just trying to pump Zeus, because it said he pinned him already. He pinned him in the summer. Like, he's getting his strength back. So speaking of the match, the movie, we go to the back. Zeus is now with the Macho Man. They're doing an interview. They're promoting the match, the movie, being no holds barred. That is pronouns, pal. And then they go to Brutus, who's in some closet. And here comes Hogan all in, and he's just coming out of the ring. He's all excited. Hey, we both won, brother. We're going to win again in the cage match against Zeus and Macho. Well, here comes Sherry. Sherry throws some powder or something a la Mr. Fuji. They're all blind. Here comes Zeus and Macho. They're dealing on them. And there you go. You set up once again the match, the movie, for December 27th, which would end up being Zeus's swan song, I guess. So, yeah, they get pounded. I didn't realize it as much back then, though. Like, this is very much Tuesday in Texas like, where they are just pumping, and you don't see it on Peacock. The thing I had the pay-per-view. They were running commercials for it in between every single match. I didn't see
that, yeah.
They go out to Gorilla and Jess, and here's where Jesse, I'm hearing there's dissension in the Heenan family. Something's going on. There's pushing and shoving back in the locker room. Obviously, what's his name had already been fired. We didn't know that because they already taped Saturday night's main event too, which is going to air 2 days later. And that's where Bobby fires the Brainbusters. But we didn't know that, you know? Go to a Rude interview in the back. Once again, Turkey Day, the Ravishing Way. They go to Roddy in the back. Any thoughts on this Roddy Piper and his team, which is Snuka and the Bushwhackers?
I don't like them.
Walking down steps with turkey legs stuffed in their clothes.
It grossed me out as a kid, dude.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this every time I see this. The Bushwhackers gross me out. I never wanted to be licked. I don't want to be touched. Like, it's just absolutely awful, man, by these freaking men. Like, I mean, you got these old, nasty men coming down the ring, licking the heads of kids. It's just...
How you doing?
Absolutely. It's disgusting, man. Like,
Come see Uncle Butchie.
Yeah, dude. Like, it's just terrible. And then, to me, I don't like... Snuka...
I don't want to be licked. Mark that for edit. I'm going to save that one.
Yeah, there we go. But they got in Snuka. I'm sorry. I missed him, dude. The great Snuka. Oh, I didn't watch. I didn't watch the stuff when he was jumping off the cage and doing all that. I wasn't there for that.
Right.
So what I seen of Snuka was post 5. I thought he was kind of a weak tag team. I hated that tag team, Ryan. Like, I hated it. And I wasn't a Rowdy guy. I mean, I'm like, what, you guys all forgot about Hogan and him? Like, I mean, come on, man. Like, and I just wasn't a Piper guy. He just... So I
didn't like Piper either. I've told the story being at WrestleMania 8. There's 62,000 people there, and there was about 3 of us cheering for Brett. Like, there was something about it. I didn't. Now, had I been older in 85, 86, I would have
hated
him.
Hogan. Yeah,
but
and cheered
here,
Piper.
He's like, I thought he was corny in like 89, 90. I didn't mind him as a broadcaster. Yeah, I know you didn't like him. I didn't mind him on the desk, but his interviews and things like that, I just thought he was kind cornball. So I wasn't a big fan. Anyway, they faced the Rude's Brood, who is Ravishing Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect, and the Rougeau brothers, their very last night in the company as well. Raymond is retiring after this. So, this is their last night too. Once again, changing of the guard a little bit with some of these guys. I'm with you. I had no interest in this match as a kid whatsoever. I didn't hate the Bushwhackers, but I didn't like them. I didn't like Snuka at all. I never understood, but I'll tell you what, watching this all the time, this right here is what made me love Mr. Perfect.
He's amazing.
It was this match that really, the first time that I really saw him and was like, oh, this dude's sweet. Those goofballs come out here again, Roddies. And Jesse says, what do you expect in Chicago? These guys look normal walking down Halstead Street. Freaking great. Because they do, dude. They're walking down some steps, and they've got like turkey legs sticking out of their,
and then they just like eat it off of each other. I'm like, what is going on? He's like, I'm
keep
disgusted.
Yelling, like them bones. Like, what is? I don't even know what that means.
I don't even like my cranberries and mashed potatoes to touch. I'm not eating something out of Butch's freaking trunks, man. Like, frick, man. Like, come on.
It's quite pungent.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Jesus, like,
yeah, I'll take a turkey leg, a breast, and a side of bush. That'll work.
Cue the porno music.
But I will say on the others, Ryan, I was in this match because I do like Ravishing Rick, and I love Mr. Perfect. So, and I don't hate the Rougeaus as much as you do. I kind of looked at them as like a Young Stallions, Killer Bees team. They were just one of those lower tag teams to me. I thought the All American Boys song was funny. But,
that is funny.
But I thought the match was well done.
Yes.
Like, I really do. I like how the limbs go. I like they stack the deck against these 2 heels over there. I think it really makes Rude and Hennig look awesome in this match. As you said, Hennig works the majority of the match for Rude's Brood.
Like 80% of the match is Hennig.
And gets 2 wins, victories, and the final, as Rude and Piper fight to the back, So I don't have a problem with this match because it did what it was supposed to. both these tag teams can't be hurt by being pinned by any of these guys because they
fight each other all. This is another one.
Right.
They feuded for like 2 years.
And every tag team has beat the Bushwhackers and the Rougeos. I mean, they're a step up from the Conquistadors, barely. You know, like I mean, so.
Well, and Snuka, according to Jesse, is 3 steps from cannibalism.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And yeah, so I thought the match was awesome. Although I do have to say this match is hold my beer for. Wait a minute, Savage and Steamboat are teaming in 80. Didn't he
87.
just crush his larynx? Now we've got the coconut guy on the. Wait a minute,
Piper and Snuka
bash him with a coconut?
A good question for another time.
Sorry about that coconut, brother.
Sorry, brother. The Survivor Series is just forgive and forget all, man. Once you're on those teams, man, it's just forgive and forget, brother.
Yeah, there's a few of those, and that one definitely stands out. Why are those two on the same team? Perfect the entire match, star-making performance. But little did we know, and he's still undefeated at this point till WrestleMania 6. Little did we know, though, they actually were going to feud him with Hogan right after this. You know, he was cutting those promos.
Yeah.
He would do whatever. He'd throw 8 bullseyes with the darts. He'd do a dive. And he would always end them going, Hulk Hogan, you can't do that. What really made this, though, and this is how good these guys are. As we said, not too many awesome dudes. The tag teams, you know, I can deal without and all that. But that's where Gorilla and Jess always step up. We've already said a few of the lines that they've said in this. They make the matches you might not really care about. They make them entertaining with their commentary. I mean, Jesse is just murdering Superfly. You know, Superfly's getting taunted in there, and Jesse's like, yeah, he can't understand too big of words. You know, you got to
use and it is.
He's like, you can't taunt him too much. He doesn't understand big words. And the funny thing there is he really is illiterate. That's what is so funny about it. Like,
oh, God.
He literally couldn't read a menu at a restaurant. If you ever hear anybody talk, they'd ask him what he wanted. And he goes, I'll have what he's having, brother. Because he can't read the menu.
He only knows it and stuff like that.
Oh, so good, dude. And so it makes some match you might not care about. You gotta watch it, man. You got it. But perfect plex for the win. Nobody kicks out of that, at least not at that point. All right, so we got one match left. It is the Warriors, the Ultimate Warriors. They are taking on the Heenan family. We don't know what the heck, you know, the Heenan family is going to be because there's dissension. They go to the back for the Ultimate Warriors team interview. Dude, this is pure chaos. And I'd watched a bunch of the other ones too. There's one where he has like duct tape, and for no reason, he's just walking in a circle, taping all of them together. And so, this is chaos, man. And if you look at his eyes, he didn't leave any of the drugs. Like he left none of them. I mean, he's cracked out of his mind.
The whole team has been to parts unknown and been bonded. What does that mean, Ryan? They've been bonded by the Ultimate Warrior. I don't know.
I don't even know if that's he said they have all taken steps to parts unknown. Each one of them has an organ donor card. And if they fail, they shall leave all they have to the others.
That doesn't make sense.
So we're going to do transplants in the middle of this match.
And who are the others?
I guess Jim the Anvil Knight, or I don't know.
Oh, man.
Why do I need an organ donor card to wrestle?
Oh, man, yeah. But dude, it worked. I don't know. He was over for
it worked right here, man. I mean, he's over here, man. He really is. And I think this is the test to see, okay, we think we're going to go Warrior at WrestleMania. Let's see what he has. Can he close this show? So Heenan is actually wrestling because Tully Blanchard has been fired by this point. So he fills in, and they don't tell you till we get there. They're like,
you see Heenan?
Gear? Why is he in gear? What's he doing?
You see Heenan.
Fight starts right away before the bell even rings, before Warrior even comes down to the ring. So he comes running down as normal. Andre's in the ring, and they had been doing this. Again, we didn't know this. They'd been doing this on house shows all across the country because Andre was so old he couldn't work a match. Warrior would get in there, maybe slam him or knock him, over the rope, and the match would go 30 seconds. That's what happens here. Clothesline. He takes a tumble over the top rope. Andre eliminated right out of the gate. Kind of stinks, I guess, if you were an Andre fan or anything, but it sure does stand out, and it's on TV now, not some house show. You're like, the Ultimate Warrior just beat Andre the Giant in 1 second? I mean, that's instant elevation.
I didn't know about.
Instant.
I didn't know about it. Like as a kid, again, I'm 10.
Yeah.
I didn't know about Andre's health issues.
Right.
Again, I start following Andre WrestleMania 1, 2, 3, 4. He's already slowing down. This isn't Andre from 1980 in the 70s.
Right.
So this was just Andre to me. So I didn't know he was slowing down. It did take some steam out of me, Ryan, because now I'm looking and I've got the Ultimate Warrior, Jim Anvil, and the Rockers versus 2.5 guys. That's what was killing me right here. Like I'm like, this is over now.
Right.
Like even I don't understand how this other team can possibly. I wouldn't believe those two guys could beat the Warrior in a handicap match. It just. I literally back then.
And then that does happen in this thing. It's Warrior on 2 guys.
Right.
Dude, Andre, classic, dude. When he finally wakes up like 10 minutes later, he starts stumbling. He's walking backwards. Classic Scott Hall when he would do the giant, and he's going.
Oh, yeah, God, it's great.
And he's going.
Dude, what does he say? It's so. He yells. Like you're like, what?
It's hilarious. It's
awesome.
So good, man. Warrior starts hitting Arn in the corner with like a pelvis pump. He's like, what's this guy doing, man?
Bonding him. I don't know.
Arn hits everybody loves Arn's spine buster. Might hit HBK with the best one of all time in this.
Yeah.
It was
HBK's
great.
got some freak on the couple pay-per-views. I mean, he's probably got the best clothesline and the best spine buster. Taking him, man. The dude.
Yeah, man. Heenan keeps going to the top rope throughout this match. It's like, what's he doing?
On the outside, and Heenan's I'm like, even as a kid, I'm like,
he keeps doing it like he's gonna fly.
Yeah, like he's gonna take off and do some savage stuff off the top rope. I'm like, no way.
And he can't get up there either. It's all rickety, like he's trying to. His legs are wobbling and everything.
Oh man.
Anyway, it's Arn, and it comes down to Arn and Heenan on the Warrior. The rest of his team jobs out once again. Anvil is not with Brett for some reason. Not really sure what's up with that. Warrior takes care of Arn, and then it's Heenan and the Warrior, and Warrior beats him in like 10 seconds. I mean, it takes no time whatsoever. If this were AEW, it would have been about a 12.5-minute match at least, because you can't just beat a job guy.
Idiots.
I feel bad.
Heenan gets out of the ring. That. He's stumbling down again like Andre down the aisle. I'm a little shocked that the Warrior didn't celebrate Hogan style in the ring. He does go to each corner, but it's very quick. Then he runs down the aisle, clotheslines Heenan in the back of the head on the way out.
And that's how we gotta go.
They go to credits. They go to credits, and then they come back from the credits. Heenan's still rolling her. It was great, man.
The Warrior revs up before he goes to hit him.
Yeah,
he's
he runs in place. He builds that momentum up. And that's how the pay-per-view ends. It ends with the Warriors music playing and Heenan rolling around on the ground.
And, overall, I think great matches for a Survivor Series in 1989, right? I really do.
I like the way it ended. I think it was smart, even though it didn't work out, to go with Warrior. All right, Nick, anything else before we go into our alternate
No, I'm looking for
here?
Run it back, man. I'm ready to run it back.
Let's hit it. we got a number of categories, but let's start with the match of the night, the best match. I'll tell you before I throw it to you. I'm going to say that last match was the best match of the night. I'll tell you why in a minute. Go ahead.
Enforcers versus Dream Team is my best match of the night. I thought it was an awesome open. I thought you had feuds that were in there that you got to see a little bit. I think no one left that match looking bad. I think everybody got over a little bit, or even the guys like Santana and Rooster. I don't think anybody cared. I think they were at where they were at that time. Yeah, that's my favorite match of the night, man. I really enjoyed that match. The fans are into it. It's a great kickoff to the night.
Can't argue. It's a great, and the crowd is just pumped right from the get-go. You can't go wrong with that at all. And it was nonstop action. As for the worst match, I got maybe a twofold thing. I would say on paper, just looking at it, Roddy's Rowdies against Rude's Brood. Yes. Because of those two tag teams in Snook, I'm just like, and I'm not as big on Rude as a lot of other people are.
I say that you're a terrible reporter.
But Mr. Perfect and what he did and the commentary during that match, that takes that out of worst match of the night for me. The worst match of the night, unfortunately, is Hogan against $1 Million Man.
I agree.
Just the way it goes down, man. All the DQs.
But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, on paper, it looks stacked. We said this. It's still the greatest tag Survivor Series team ever to exist on paper. The match just, I think, falls short on the delivery.
Funniest moment of the night. This is a good one, man. Gorilla and Jess are on their game all night long. Is it something they said, something we've already said, or do you have anything else?
Right. I think the funniest moment to me, though, just because we now know the history of Bobby and the Ultimate Warrior, I like when Warrior trucks at the end, man. I don't know why. When he runs back down and just clotheslines him and knocks him down, gears up, he just like runs in place and just goes and hits him.
Yeah. I got a different one, Nick, but that is a good one because once again, as we said, everything about this pay-per-view, this is why I like it so much. It was the first time we saw a lot of stuff, man, like the intro, the what I'm thankful for things, the Chicago thing at the beginning, all these different things that we had never seen before. Here's another one. They wrapped up the show with still photos from throughout the night, kind of like credits. Then they go back at the end and show Bobby paralyzed, laying on the ground. Yeah. No, we've never seen anything like that, man. So I thought that was very cool. I thought that was good. But my funniest moment of the night easily could have been anything Jesse. But, dude, these boys have gone to parts unknown, and they all have their organ donor card. Just, dude, what?
He's an idiot.
Well, that's nice. Well, what else do they have? They got a driver's license?
It was Warrior being Warrior.
It's pretty darn funny. Along the same lines you just mentioned it, Nick, there are so many. Do you have a line of the night?
Ryan, mine wasn't really line. It was the phrase, if you will, of the night as they're beating up Hogan. He is verbal, like he comes off as he's really upset, Ryan. Jesse really is livid at the referee. I can't believe it. He's saving Hogan again. Not once, no, twice Hogan's going to get saved in this match. This makes me sick. Referee disqualifies Zeus because he beats up Hogan. Then they disqualify the Powers of Pain because they beat up Hogan too. I just thought that was my line. That like barrage of attacks on Hogan. Because it sounds like you can. I don't know if you've ever when you listen to a song or something when you can really feel the artist something. They're really into this one. This may have impacted. He felt like that, man. He was upset at them giving this match to Hogan.
That's why
and
they're
like
the
we
best.
talked about, it was true.
Yep, that's why they're the best. There are so many. I mentioned it at the top. I'm 9 years old. There was a bunch of things I'd never heard before that heard anybody say. That Turkey Day.
Thanksgiving.
I'd never heard Chicago called Chi-Town. They talk about that. Call it Chi-Town a couple times. The SRO stands went out over a week ago, Jess. I'm like, what does SRO mean? Standing room only. I had no idea. These are all things that they became part of my vocabulary. Another thing I had never heard before. I didn't know it was a rib.
Main event anywhere in the country. Absolutely.
It's Tito standing there like against Honky
Talk
at the very beginning of the first match. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, I mean, I guess it could be, but but I took it. I did take it like, they got to be kidding, right? They can't be kidding. Little did you know that all these years later, especially on Bruce Pritchard's show, he says that all the time. And one time he did talk about how that is a huge rib. Oh man, what? Boss Man and the Red Rooster, main event anywhere, man. I had no idea. I was like, oh, all right, main event. So to me,
that's a great one. We still use it today.
Still say it, man. I swear. Like anything. The Pistons, who won 14 games last year, taking on the Bulls, main event, man. Like
anywhere in the country.
The Lions every single year until 2 years ago.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So that's the line of the night for me. But pick one. They were awesome. What has aged the best from this show? I don't need to say much more. I just get the commentary, period. It is on point. I think with a couple manias in there, this is all-time commentary night.
I got two, Ryan, if that's all right. The undercard, in my opinion, is the best undercard of the original four. The main events steal the show in the other ones, if you will, in 90, 87, and 88.
Yep.
I think the undercard matches are phenomenal on this one. So I would give it that. And I would say this, and you mentioned it's kind of funny because I didn't run this by you. Ending the Survivor Series tag team match. It has got to be something that aged the best too. That match was just not too many people on the apron. One guy gets pinned, the team is gone.
Yep.
At this point, probably in 89, when you do look down those tag teams,
not as many.
I think we're at the tail end of the greatest era of tag teams. I think that is also, if I had to go with one, what has aged the best? The undercard and the ending the tag team match. I thought I never liked it to begin with. So,
and we didn't say a lot about this. I agree with you, even though it does make sense to have a tag team one. But
I get it.
Going 4-on-4, I think helped it too, because again, you may have had a fringe guy or two on each team, or maybe just one team. Going down to 4 shrunk that card up a little bit. I mean, who really is a job guy on this show? You got like one. You got the Red Rooster. I mean, that's about it.
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
The most rewatchable part about this show.
You gonna do worst or no?
Oh yeah, what age the worst? I forgot.
Yeah, no worries. DQs and countouts. There's too many in some of these matches for me. Bad News Brown walks out. Duggan is counted out to end the second match. Zeus is DQ'd. Powers of Pain are DQ'd. Rude and Piper are both counted out. Andre's counted out. That's just a lot of non-pins, man.
Another reason why you can't do the Survivor Series the way you used to do it.
I think people would erupt in anger today. Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. I just say the basic. You're not fighting for anything here. No belts are on the line. You know what? I don't know that they forgot about the show immediately after, like the next week on Superstars, but like, did Dino Bravo get a trophy or something for winning? Like, nothing happens. And if you lose, did Duggan lose anything by losing his match? It's just kind of there, but for the time, it worked because it was unique. Okay, most rewatchable. What's the most rewatchable part about this show?
I gave it away, I think, earlier. Vince breaking that card down, man.
Yeah.
Vince, hey, the 4x4 and the faces in the boxes, man. I got pumped watching this, Ryan. I was excited to watch it because I love this era. Everybody out there knows we love this era. But once you really get it in and get that Vince's voice going with the boxes and the face, it's awesome. That's my most rewatchable. I could go watch it again right now. It's the opening.
Yep, same thing. I have the same thing, and the thankful things, just because some of them were stupid, like literally they were 1 second long, but it was different, man. It was different, and then you jump into Vince being Vince. It's great. Nitpick anything stands out to you that I would like if this was a little bit different.
Tully getting fired really hurt this. I thought. I'm just looking at Heenan going this. Like you might as well go 3-on-4 because I had just seen, I think was it the WrestleMania before that the Rooster smoked the brain?
Yeah, in 2 seconds.
Yeah. So I'm like, if the Rooster can smoke the brain, well, what the hell is the Warrior going to do?
And he did take care of him in 2 seconds.
He did. But that just I wish Tully could have been there. I do just to make that team. Me and you aren't big Brainbuster fans, just to make that team a little bit better.
Mine would be what you said earlier. A lot of DQs, a lot of countouts, especially the Hogan match. I think it ruined the match. You had two amazing teams, and the match is probably the worst match of the night.
Memorable?
Hot take. I will go along the lines of what you said, Nick. I'm going to say the last match was 1 billion times better because of Heenan.
Wow.
Because of Heenan. Because think about it. Once again, how many times have I said we've never seen this before? It was special, We've seen Heenan fight before. I understand that. But Tully Blanchard, really? Tully Blanchard. That guy stinks.
You suck, pal.
Okay.
I'm not going to get an argument on me. But Heenan can't fight.
At least with this, it was something. And I'm like, okay, what's he going to do to Heenan? What's he going to do? And your funniest moment of the night at the end when he smokes him from behind. Nobody's going to care. Tully's not going to sell that the way Heenan did.
No, and no one would care if it was.
And you knew he was going to, and I made fun of AEW earlier in the night, but they didn't pull a Kenny Omega against, what's the guy's name? QT Marshall, and they go 28 minutes. No, he beat him in like 30 seconds, and it was over. I thought it made it interesting and it made it funny. Where Tully, to me, I've never understood the Horseman.
Average carpentry.
Never understood outside of Flair. I thought Tully and Arn were boring as could be. And it's just another Brainbusters match if Heenan isn't in there. So that's what sold it for me. What do you got?
Hottest takeaway, I think you can do the Survivor Series more legitimately today than you can do WWE Speed. I think Speed's the dumbest thing in the world. I would rather have some rules on the Survivor Series where maybe you can't come in and break up a pin, but this Speed thing is the dumbest thing in the. I would rather. I'm sorry, it is.
Stupid as it gets. Stupid, clueless idiot, a bunch of clueless nuts. Is there anybody here that's got any brains? Stupid, stupid, stupid every day, every night.
Speed's catching strays.
Yeah, it is. Well, because you can't tell me you can't do these matches, but Sheamus and Butch are going to fight for 45 minutes on Raw, but then they're going to finish it in 3 on Speed. Like, come on, man. It's just, I think this could work better today than Speed. I'm not saying Survivor Series can work. I just think it works better than Speed because that's.
I haven't watched it, so I have no idea.
Me neither, because I'm not going to. It's a 3-minute match. It just sounds stupid.
Stupid as it gets.
Best moment?
Go ahead.
Perfect winning. Mr.
Really?
Perfect. Yes. He comes back down 2-4 on his team. He gets 2 big eliminations. I thought of all the winners, no one looks better than Mr. Perfect. I honestly, you got a double survivor in the first couple matches, multiple people survive. It's not a solo. The solo Hogan win felt kind of cheated.
What else is new?
And handed maybe to him. I think Perfect had the night, man. I do. I think he had the best moment. Him winning.
Moment of the night for me, I'm gonna go back to Heenan. When he sees Arn leaving and he doesn't know that Arn's been eliminated, he's like, "Where are you going, man? where are you going? And then he turns around and he sees that he's the only one left with the Ultimate Warrior. The look on his face
He's amazing.
Is incredible. I mean, to me, that's the best moment of the night. And they clipped it and put it in the still photos in the package at the end. And then I'll jump into who won the night. Ultimate Warrior won this night because he main evented the show. Hogan did not. He did. Previewing the future. He kills Andre on television, which no one had ever done. Everybody gets to see it. And then on top of that, he killed the manager everybody wanted to see get killed. Everybody hates Heenan. They love to see him get dealt on. And he dealt on him. And then obviously he becomes the man shortly after this. So to me, who won the night was the Ultimate Warrior. You got perfect winning the whole night.
Ryan, this catapults him. I mean, after this, we're off to feuding with the Hulkster, brother.
Yeah.
This was a big.
Well, then Hogan held him down after that, though.
That's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
After Ryan, he's the only solo heel survivor on this program.
Still undefeated,
and he's still Mr. Perfect. And he, like I said, he's got just to me. I mean, it was a big one for me. I thought he looked like $1 million.
Last thing, Nick, the legacy of this show. This is the start of the Warrior becoming the guy.
Yep. The Warrior is becoming the guy. I have, just especially I didn't think the main event matches were that strong as you did, but this is time. Hogan is second. I mean, he doesn't go on last, right? I cannot emphasize. I'm glad you brought that up. That is huge, man. Hogan is not closing the show. I mean, Hogan has to pose slow. Hogan is not closing the show.
And he did anyway.
He did. He did. But we're going with the Warrior, man.
Yep.
And the jetpack strapped. And he's going to go on and he's going to defeat Hogan at WrestleMania. And, in an era when very few people held that title, it's almost, I hate to make this comparison. It's very Vanilla Icy. You may not like him, but for a moment in time, Ice Baby was the hottest thing that I knew going around, man.
I work at an ice rink now.
People are still talking about him. And if you go to some party with a bunch of 40-year-olds or even younger than that, they play that song. People go crazy still, don't they?
And Ryan, I think if you went to that same party with tassels and face paint, they'd know you were the Ultimate Warrior. I mean, you might get kicked, too. You might be asked to leave, but they'd know you were the Ultimate Warrior.
Well, that's because I had a Speedo on.
Yeah.
It was a totally different thing.
You had been bonded.
It wasn't the paint. It was the Speedo.
That's what they wear in Parts Unknown, dude.
They do. Yeah. They have nothing. You can't carry a wallet because you have on a Speedo. You just carry your donor card. For life. Leave a comment. Tell us what you thought. Best match, worst match, anything like that. We would appreciate that as well.
I think last year we did Survivor Series 98, the tournament, didn't we?
We did. We did the tournament. Yeah. Check that one out.
Very controversial pay-per-view. A lot of people love or hate it is usually what people say.
Very polarizing one for sure. But yeah, if you could do all that, like, subscribe, that helps the algorithm, helps other people see it and all that. So till next time, appreciate it, guys. Job, guys.
Peace. Thank you.
Out.
You smell something, it's us, because we're the stuff.